Hello everyone, welcome back to the Aquascape channel. Today we're going to go through and scape a nano scape for you all. This is a 2.1 gallon, specifically around Caridina shrimp. I've been really striving to grow my Caridina shrimp game here in the studio. So what we're going to go through and do is show you how to create a nice self-sustaining ecosystem Caridina shrimp tank. This one is not going to have a filter, so that's going to be a plus. It's going to be a self-sustaining ecosystem cube for my Caridina shrimp. I haven't done a filterless tank for Caridina, but we're going to give it a go. I have some other tanks just in case it doesn't work out for them to be held into when I get the new shrimp for these. But anyways, what does the cube look like and what is it? So this is the 20C from UNS. I know I get a lot of questions about cost-effective aquarium tanks. By all means, you can go to your local aquarium store and get non-rimless tanks. They are much more affordable. This one was only $40 though. I love the rimless tanks. As you can see behind me, all of my tanks are the UN tanks. They're rimless. They have nice quality glass as well. That's what I prefer. But if you need a cost-effective one, by all means, go to your local aquarium store or fish store or pet store even. PetSmart has a good cube preset, has everything you need. You don't have to buy anything else. For this one, I went and got a UNS tank. This one was only 40 bucks. It's a cube, again, the 20C, and we're gonna go through and scape this specifically for my Caridina shrimp that I'm gonna be receiving soon. So I'm super excited. We are going to use a cheaper brand of light. It is the Hager light, and I forget which type of brand it is. I'll put it in the description, but this is the light. I've used it for my plant holding tank, my plant pre-grow tank. I don't know what you want to call it. It's where I put my plants before I put them in the tank, just in case I need somewhere to put plants that I order before tank build. That was a long-winded explanation, but anyways, let's go through and scape this cube for you all. I'm also going to grab some of my Rotala Super Reds. As you can tell, they're super red. This tank behind me is excelling and just popping off. So what I hope to do is create a non-high-tech tank, which that is now. And if you haven't checked out my video of upgrading my low-tech tank to a high-tech tank, check it out. It's up here in the top left. That will be the link to go and watch how I upgraded my low-tech to a high-tech. This one is going to be a complete low-tech. Again, this is the cube. We're gonna unwrap it together. I'm not painting the back because I plan on having a lot of Sirius stone going up through the back end of it. Typically, I'm not able to scape towards the back or have the hardscape on the back because I'll have a hang-on back filter. But guess what? This is gonna be a self-sustaining, eco-friendly ecosystem tank for Caridina shrimp. But enough of me talking. I know you're probably like, hey Mike, you talk a lot. But let's hop on in and show you how we can go through and make a nano desktop eco-friendly Caridina shrimp tank for you all. Alrighty, so here's the cube. Unwrap this guy. There are some stickers in the bottom. And of course, what way do you want to scape it? Then scaping it with the UN brand in the front. And we'll need to check out what light, again, that I talked about earlier. The Hager series brand, really good for this nanoscape in terms of perfect circumference of coverage for my plants. Go through and turn this on. So this is, it's like gambling here. You don't know. That's the brightest setting. Don't know which one's the brightest setting. So for this scape, what we'll be doing is we're not going to be doing our 3-layer that I traditionally do for my substrate. And you can check out my other substrate videos in terms of nutrient dense substrate. Well, actually we will, because I'm thinking I'm going to add some back here. some stem plants, and then the rest is going to just be moderate front plants and probably some Monte Carlo in some areas. We'll see. So maybe I'll add some in the back just to be sure. And I got a bunch of Cereus stone and blue Cereus stone, and we'll go through and add that. Now the substrate from the sand perspective is the newest one from UNS that really contrasts well. It is extra fine Pacifica. It has like a red contrast with black, and I've seen some videos of people using it before, and it looks really, really good with blue Cereus stone. Probably also good with lava stone. So this will hopefully be my second favorite. I only need two. The Boris sand is off the charts amazing in terms of the sand quality. Well, look, here's some right here. I know I need to clean the glass, but Boris sand is amazing. We'll see how it looks with darker rock, and the Pacifica is their newest one out. So let's go through and grab some of my nutrient dense soil that we're gonna add, and then we'll go through and start scaping. All right, so as always, I recommend you washing any sand you get from UNS. Does have a lot of debris with it, but here is the Boris sand. I'm placing this first because I want to place my hardscape with it, and then I'll move stuff around and add my nutrient dense layer. The reason why I'm adding, just a little tip, why I'm adding the sand first in this instance is I don't know where the hardscape's going to go, and also I don't want it to scratch the glass. So there we are. Now I got a lot of Cereus stone, and I'm thinking this one can go back here. Now the issue I'm gonna have is this light, so let's move it over here. So I'm thinking if I have enough control sand in some of these areas, I can grow some plants in it. But my issue is going to be if I fill all this up with control sand, is it going to come down to the bottom here? I don't know if it takes up too much of the space. I don't know if this is too much, but it looks like it should be fine. There's enough crevices that I can put some control sand into to have things grow out of. There's a cool little cove in here. The only thing is I'm not going to have any room for stem plants here. So I think what I'll do is I'll take this out. So that I have some stem plants that'll come up back here. Now with that, I'll need to move the sand around back here so I can add my pond planting mix. I got into bonsai for a little bit, and there's a bunch of cool tools that I still have from it. That'll allow me to grab this soil and put it back here. So what I've noticed is an issue with my 3-course layer in terms of my substrate video and how I do all of my substrates. Sorry, let me talk now as I'm grabbing things. But basically what happens is when I put the stem plant in, the roots start to go out, but when I have the nutrient dense layer, it is sand and then nutrients, and the roots don't have anything to grab onto. So I'm going to try something new in this tank, and I'm going to do it in my 10-gallon, which is behind when I escape that one, is I'm going to add some crushed up lava stone so that it gives the roots something to wrap around and hold on to for my stem plants. So basically back here is where I added that nutrient dense layer. And now, so right back here is where I added the nutrient dense layer. Now I'm gonna add some lava stone to give the stem plant something to bear root to see if that makes it better. They're getting enough nutrients. They're just very easy. And I'm gonna mix it. They just get pulled up very easily is the issue. So with that, we'll go through and add some more of the Pacifica back here. I'm also going to add enough throughout the whole back. So I'm going to add a sponge right in between here, because when I add the control sand to the back and in between the rocks so that things can grow down onto it, is I don't want the control sand to slip through here. So I'm going to add a sponge directly into there. Not a sponge, well, a sponge filter part that I broke off. We'll cut off. All right, this is exactly how I want it to be. Now I just need to fill in. There's this area here with control soil very, very slowly, because I don't want any of it to fall onto the front side, which means I can use this little piece of rock here to hopefully prevent some of the control soil from going down. So I need to do this very slowly so that I don't drop any onto this foreground area. All right, this looks like a good Caridina nanoscape to me. I do need to clear up some more control soil. I'm gonna add one more piece of stone right here to keep it all from sliding down, as we're seeing happen. No glue, no glue. I'll probably have to come back and glue it. We'll just see how it does while it rests here. All right, so this is going to be an excellent nano with a cave for nanoscape for my Caridina shrimp. So let's go through and start planting some plants and talk about what plants I got for this tank build. All right, first and foremost, we have some baby tears. These are the, what would you call, stem plant version? So they're not essentially the ones that are going to be the Monte Carlo or the Cuba, but these are going to go in the back left with some very vibrant blood red from my 20-gallon tank. Here are my super reds from my 20-gallon tank. Then I'm going to add some Monte Carlo right in this little area at the top. Definitely need some more control sand in this top part. I'm going to be adding some Christmas moss. Typically I glue it down, but I've had great luck with wherever it is in rock. As long as you get it stuck, it actually starts to grow into the rock and around it. So I'll have some Christmas moss starting to kind of come down this area here once it grows out. I'll also get some booses to put along this area here, hoping that the Monte Carlo grows quick enough to drape, but I haven't had much luck with Monte Carlos. This is like my 7th or 8th try, and there's going to be no CO2 in this tank. Remember, low tech. So we'll see how that grows. But let's go through and add, I need to wash the booses as well. All right, so I have these booses that I've had for a while. They're boosts, they're the brownie ones. Essentially, I got them from PetSmart because they have cheap ones there. And the roots are just grown out not so well. So we'll see how they do, but I think they're a great add to this type of tank. So we'll go through and add them in here. Perfect. So they look weird because they started to root out in the tissue culture, but they typically start to grow in pretty well, so we'll see how they turn out. Monte Carlo will drape down. Then for the front, I'm going to try the rest of this UG. If it doesn't do well, that's fine, because what I'll go through and do is get some rep pins. Those will look great in this substrate. I just don't have any right now, so I'm probably going to use I am going to use the UG and see how it grows out, because it is a carpeting plant, but it says it requires high light, which this is a cheap Hager light. So we'll see how that kind of looks. So that is my finished scape. We're gonna go through and add some water now. Again, this is going to be a Caridina shrimp tank. So for all of my Caridina shrimp tank, I go through and add the salty shrimp, B shrimp, which is just GH. So again, just be aware whenever you're having stem plants, you're going to want a nutrient dense substrate for your stems to grow out. Your epiphytes will feed off of the nutrients in the water column. And the front, I use API root tabs because I didn't add a nutrient dense layer, but in the back I did, as we saw. And then also be aware that this is an ecosystem tank, no filter. So low maintenance, no filter. What I need to do now is fill it up. And since it's a no filter tank, I do want to make sure nutrients isn't going to be an issue where there's too much when I start adding life into here. So I'm going to add some floating plants. But until then, let's go through and fill this up with my remineralized RODI water. All right, so we're back. This is 3 weeks from the original setup date. So you would have just seen me finish scaping it with plants, but I knew that I wanted to add more plants that I just didn't have currently. And I also wanted to show you where we're all at in the same build video 3 weeks from now. So I haven't done anything besides scrape the glass. Again, this is a low maintenance, no filter, self-sustaining, I guess you'd say, tank. We're fully cycled. There is little micro life in the tank as well. And you can start seeing little swimming micro life. I forget what they're called. They're not scuds. There's something different. They're super small in there. So that's when I know the tank is completely cycled along with algae growth. So as you can see up here at the top, not hair algae, just algae on the rock. Typically I would go through and brush this, but this is going to be great food for the shrimp as well. So I did get an Amano shrimp to start. They didn't have in stock the type of Caridina shrimp I want, which is something non-traditional. I want some OE black King Kongs. So orange eye Caridina shrimp for this tank, but they didn't have any in stock. So I ended up just getting a Amano shrimp who's gonna help break down some of this algae that's been growing on the rock and on some of the surfaces. What did happen is the UG down here did start to have some melt at the very bottom from the tissue culture, but the top grew really well. So what I did was I pulled it up, I added more sand. The sand was a little bit more shallow, and then the UG will grow here. So I replanted the top portions after I cut them. I added some Monte Carlo at the base as well. This is a new boost plant here as well that I went and got. It's supposed to be the same genius, but I got this from PetSmart, so they didn't have the small brownie ones. They say this is brownie, but you can tell it's a little bit different. It may start to turn darker color like the top portion, even though this has started to do new growth. I added some Monte Carlo up here at the top as well. The Monte Carlo that was originally here melted, so I got some more tissue culture, which is the same as the bottom. The Rotala Super Red actually grew too tall, so I ended up cutting it and planting it back in. And you can still see it's still super red, even with this Hager light here. No CO2, again, low maintenance, no filter. The baby tiers are doing well as well. And I still have some floating plants in here too. The Christmas moss that's in this crevice back here didn't do so well. So I ended up moving this boost that was over here in the back to the front too. So from here, that's all I did. I waited until week 3, so just a little bit earlier before I'm recording this, to start adding some of the other items. Before then, nothing. But this is where we're at. Let's go through and add our Amano shrimp so far. So again, I picked this Amano shrimp up local at one of the fish stores here, and it was only $10. I did drip acclimate him before. So for those of you that don't know, typically some people do the acclimation where they just sit it in there and they let the water acclimate. But now what we ended up doing was I do drip. So essentially what happens is I'll put them in a tub like this. You can pick these up, they're like 10 bucks. I set it on top, I drip acclimate for right around 30 minutes to an hour. That way then we're able to make sure that everything is correct from a water parameters perspective. You don't want to shock the shrimp and have them do a quick molt. But this guy's doing good. He's right back here just cleaning things up. So super excited about having him clean things up around the area, which is going to help this tank just continue to cycle. And then once we get our specific shrimp that we're looking for this tank, we'll add them. But I think we're at a good spot, right? Low maintenance shrimp cube that we've created, kind of eco-friendly because I don't have to touch it, self-sustaining from that perspective, not eco-friendly, self-sustaining, and no filter. So here's where we're at. And again, thank you all for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. If you do have this moment, please take this moment to like and subscribe. Also turn on notifications. I truly appreciate every single one of you that always tunes in, and comment. If you have any questions about this, again, there may be questions about like Caridina shrimp tank versus a Neo Caridina shrimp tank. Feel free to put in the comments. I remineralize RODI from all of my Caridina shrimp tanks. But then again, appreciate all of you tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next video.